Smith. My name's Sandy. I'm your nursing assistant. I'm here to take your vital signs. Let me go wash my hands, and I'll put on the brakes of the wheelchair, and they're on. I will want to pull the privacy curtain all the way around the bed, and some places will require that you wear gloves for this. The state does not require it. I'll put a probe cover on my thermometer, and I will hold the thermometer underneath the patient's tongue until I hear it beep. Beep, beep. When I hear that beep, I'm going to look at the number. I'm going to discard the probe cover in the trash, and I'm going to write down my number immediately. Temperature, 98.5. After I've written that down, I'm ready to take Mrs. Smith's pulse. So I'll locate her radial pulse, which is on the thumb side of the wrist, and I'll count that pulse for either 30 seconds and multiply it times 2, or I can count it for a full minute. Well, I decided to count Mrs. Smith's pulse for 30 seconds. So I'll turn my documentation card over on the back, and I will take the number of beats that I felt in 30 seconds, and I'll multiply that times 2, and that will give me the number of beats in a minute. And when I get the number of beats in a minute, I'll turn it over and document that as her pulse. Mrs. Smith's pulse was 62 beats per minute. Now I'm going to tell Mrs. Smith that little white lie. All right, Mrs. Smith, let me check your pulse one more time. But what you should do during a state test is turn your head away from Mrs. Smith and toward the evaluator and whisper to your evaluator, respirations. So your evaluator knows that you're counting respirations, but Mrs. Smith doesn't know that you're counting respirations. All right, Mrs. Smith, let's go ahead and put your hand right up here, and I'm going to check one more time. This time I'm watching the chest rise and fall. And again, I can count for 30 seconds and multiply that times 2, or I can count for a full minute. All right, I counted Mrs. Smith's respirations for 30 seconds. So again, I'm going to take my card, I'm going to turn it over on the back, and I'll write down the number of breaths that I counted in 30 seconds. And I'll multiply that number times 2, and that will give me the number of breaths that Mrs. Smith took in 1 minute. And when I figure out the number of breaths per minute, I'll then turn my card back over, and where it says respirations, I'm going to write that number down. So Mrs. Smith has 14 respirations per minute. I want to carefully make sure that I've completed all of my cards, so I want to make sure my name's on the top and that the patient's name is below it. So I will write Margaret Smith, and then I want to put the date down, 11/14/10, and the time in military time. And then I definitely want to make sure that I put my signature at the bottom. So my full first name, my full last name, and my title. And when I've completed that, I can then hand this card to my state evaluator and do my exit steps. So I will definitely want to open the privacy curtain, give Mrs. Smith the call light. There you are, Mrs. Smith. Is there anything else I can get for you today? No? All right, well, you put your call light on if you need anything else. And before I leave the room, I would wash my hands.